and welcome to another edition of Access Central TV. I'm your host, Andy Hersman, and today we have my two cool guests. Well, you know, we're buddies. But this over here is the one and only Jonathan Buchanan, right here. And he thinks he's overdressed, but this is television. We're really underdressed. And over here is my friend Tony.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. So anyway, we're buddies, so we hang out usually on the weekends and we watch movies, you know. Now, explain to me how we watch movies, because we're not one of those people who uses DVDs. Well, sometimes we watch DVDs, but we're getting new into technology now, right? No more cable, no more DVDs. What's the newest thing?
The newest thing is bootleg Netflix, which is Kodi.
Kodi, man.
It's online streaming, and it's free. Requires a little bit of an installation of an application, and that's the newest thing. Sometimes the quality isn't the best, but you've got a huge selection.
It's amazing, you know, because pretty much everything's on the internet now. You know, every book, every radio station, every song, name something that's not on the internet. I mean, you know, everybody, everything's on there. Now movies, it's just unbelievable. Newspapers.
Becoming a digital world.
Yeah, so do you think that's good or bad? Is that putting people out of business or destroying jobs?
I have to say, in defense of Hollywood, all this pirating is really hurting the actors and actresses and the industry.
They're still making millions, though.
Yeah, but it's their intellectual property. I don't think anyone should be, stealing it and pirating it and burning discs and selling them.
No, I don't. I'm not saying to actually sell it and make money off of it. But what's the harm of actually watching something that's already out there? It's a victimless crime. Nobody's getting hurt.
Is that what we're going to talk about now?
Well, no, it's just,
Hollywood is
not specifically, but it kind of went off.
All
on
right,
a
let me
tangent.
ask you a question. Don't you think Hollywood is making more money now because they have computers and CGI, and they don't have to create these big sets like in the days of Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments, where they have to hire 10,000 extras.
Good point.
So now it's a little guy in a 10 by 10 room can sit there with his computer and create everything on the screen.
Sure.
So they're operating.
That's the thing. In some ways. Right, the technology is benefiting them. They're making, they spend less money to make a movie, and I'm not, again, I don't want people stealing movies and copying them and selling them and making a ton of money. Personally.
Well, do you think really they're saving money? Because I would imagine the technology itself is very expensive to set the sets up.
Well,
to do all the graphic work.
It's expensive, but not as much as,
It can be quite pricey to get those special effects.
Well, they still have $1 million movies, of course.
There's a new Independence Day movie that's coming out.
Right.
Will Smith won't be in this one, but I was able to watch the trailer, and it looks quite exciting. It looks like there's a lot of special effects that they spent a lot of money creating. A spaceship that's bigger than Earth crashing into Earth.
Sure, but you could make a good movie without all that stuff. I mean, you could write a really good movie, just with a good story, without all this killing and explosions.
Like the Blair Witch Project?
Well, that's really cheap. You want to go to that extreme, But no, I mean, if you go,
but that made a lot of money.
Plugging a lot of movies.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
So there you go. But the point I'm just trying to make is if you listen to a song on the radio, right, and you're not paying to hear that song. Right, it's free, and you're not destroying the intellectual property.
Well, no, it's not free because the radio station has a relationship with the record company, and there's some type of
they got
commerce.
A couple of pennies.
There's some type of commerce going on between those two.
I mean,
to provide the music for us.
But
they are making money because they're selling advertisement. So that's how
the
radio
station is. But I'm talking about the people who write the songs, and perform and record the songs. They're getting a couple of pennies every time it gets on the radio, which is. They're not getting
pennies add up when you.
Yeah, but they're not making millions.
Played,
Part of the problem is I don't know
40,
any.
60, 80 times in a day.
I don't know any Hollywood executives. If I personally knew one, I might feel a little bit different. I
I mean, personally, if I made a movie and someone stole it and started making millions off of it, I'd be mad. Sure.
I'm here representing the stockholders. That's where I'm concerned, to see the stockholders of the company. I want to make sure that it's their property, that they're getting the best usage of it.
All right. Well, another moving on. Another piece of media that I'm very interested in is computer
streaming.
Not streaming, but video games, right? I mean, absolutely amazing what they can do now. I mean, compared to like Atari, with the little dots, right? Now they look like movies. Some of them, you look at these games and you're like watching the movie and you're interacting with it. And talk about that must cost some amazing amounts of money. I mean, think about it, right? So I think they pretty much crack down on the pirating of video games. I mean, I even bought a game used on Amazon, legitimate, and the code I put in, they said, it was already used. Yeah. And they wouldn't give me another code, even though I proved to them that I paid for it. So it got to the point where now it's the other extreme, where even if you legitimately pay for a game, unless it's brand new, they make it so you can't even resell a game to somebody else because the codes don't work and it makes the game useless.
It's a lot easier to do that with video games because it's all software driven, but ultimately we're going to see that with movies too. Everything's digital.
Yeah.
And now the new HDMI standard already, from what I understand, requires some sort of handshake between the media player and the TV. TVs have processors now like a computer.
Right.
So the line between what a computer is and a monitor or a TV is going to be blurred.
Wow.
And
good point.
It's going to get harder as time goes by.
But can you blame the companies when they didn't want to give you the password?
Yeah, I could, because if I could, I show them the receipt.
But they're trying to protect something that cost them millions of dollars to make.
That's going overboard.
But how do they know that
you can't handle the truth?
No, because they can verify it with Amazon that I bought it.
But who's going to do all of that? You think they're going to take the time to contact Amazon?
No, but I took the time. I sent them the receipt.
How do they know your documents haven't been falsified?
Well, that's illegal too, right? I mean,
There's an industry of people doing illegal things.
But if they did the right thing, I mean, they don't have to be that strict.
I'll give you an example. It's a little off of what we're discussing, but today I had to go to the post office. I ran out of checks, and I needed to pay a bill, so I had to make a money order.
Yeah.
And they stamped the back of the money order. I said, for what?
Yeah.
Because people are, they're I don't know how, but they're somehow adding numbers on a post office money order. They're changing things around, and so they'll buy a money order for $11, and somehow they'll make it into $1,000.
Wow.
Just simple things like that.
Well,
so now they have to stamp things for their protection. So I understand companies want to protect their property and not give you the code.
No, I don't mind them protecting, but when you
they don't know if you're real or not.
Yeah, but see, it gets to the point. What if you have a real legitimate $1,000 money order and they won't give it your money because they go, it gets to the point now where it's like, now you have to prove yourself innocent instead of having the benefit of the doubt. And it's to me, it's like it's going a little bit overboard. It's I mean, there are going to be people who are always going to try to scam.
But unfortunately, that's becoming more and more common.
Well,
I mean, one of my favorite movies is Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, here's a man
who
stole
right.
millions of dollars.
That was a great movie, but that was
like a great movie.
The 50s, right? Or 60s?
Well, 70s, 80s. But he stole millions of dollars.
Yeah, but back then they didn't have the technology.
Today it's cybersecurity.
Right.
And you see huge companies like Symantec and Palo Alto Networks that create firewalls and security systems that protect people. Mm-hmm. So I could see and understand that layer of protection. I can understand Hollywood doing everything it needs to do to protect their intellectual property.
Right.
Think about it. If you spent days, months, years working on a film, and now it's ready to get out there, and you're going to make money on it, and all of a sudden you see it on YouTube, and 1 million people watched it, it's been downloaded, isn't that going to upset you?
A little.
Don't you feel like
it depends.
Your hard work has been taken from you?
It depends.
And your monetary value of what you would get off of that has now been diminished?
If I'm still making $1 million off of it.
What happens if the movie cost you $3 million? Now you lost money.
Well, you got to be careful too how much you spend on your movies. You know, I mean,
But
there's
it's
a
not
risk.
It's not uncommon.
Nothing's going to guarantee
So
you
now
that
you're
you're going to make a
saying
profit.
that we shouldn't be spending a lot of money on making good quality movies because of piracy? I don't want the
No,
I don't want
no.
the quality of the movies to decrease. I just want people to do the right thing. I mean, I don't have a right to steal things from
Right,
you.
but even if,
I don't
let's
have
say-
a right to steal from Time Warner either.
Let's say there was no piracy at all. It's still making a risk. You don't know if it's going to be good at the box office or not. You don't know if people
Well,
are
that's
going to like
different.
the movie.
That's different. It's different if
So that's a
I
risk.
make a movie and it bombs at the box office.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I make a
Right.
movie, but it was stolen from me and it ended up on the internet, and I lost a tremendous amount of money because of
But
piracy.
if you
and
still made a
thievery.
profit, though, I mean, you know.
Well, it's hard to say whether or not you're
The
going to
industry's
make money.
in rapidly changing right now. It was probably pretty much the same for 60 or 70 years. You know, as far as how it got to the people, it was either on TV. You see a movie on TV or in the movie
Right,
theater, and
right.
then eventually cable vision came around,
Right.
and then
Well,
well,
now look, we
have
got Dish
DVD
Network,
players,
we got
VHS.
Verizon, we got.
Right.
I mean, now we got internet. Right. I mean, where's it going to end? I mean, it's,
Well,
it's unlimited.
It's great that we have all of this because what it does is it allows the consumer to get the best for the lowest price.
yeah, it's a
Because
good thing.
It allows
sure.
us to say, you know what? If you're not going to give me a deal,
Right.
I'm just going to go to your competitor.
Sure, competition
And
is
if
always
you,
a good
and
thing.
if you want me to stay with you, then you have to give me an incentive to stay.
But you know, I think people can't afford $100 anymore for cable a month. That's a lot of
Well,
money.
cable's getting expensive.
Yeah.
I just transferred over to Verizon FiOS.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that right here in the Cablevision studio.
Yeah.
That
Free speech, you gotta love it. Yes.
you know, I got the bill. It was quite pricey, but they gave me a good deal on it.
Right. Right.
But it was nice to be able to have an option to pick,
Yeah.
Sure.
you know, one or the other.
Sure.
And at the same time, noticing that they gave me a great offer to say, hey, we want you as a customer. We're going to give you a $400 rebate, and you're going to pay $80 a
Competition,
month.
gotta love
How
it.
can you beat it?
You know,
Gotta love it.
another problem is some of the content that's on regular TV, over-the-air TV, is just as good, if not better, than these big-budget movies.
Well, I hear, you know, that they actually don't use compression for over the air, so you get real 1080 quality as opposed to when you're watching something on cable, which is completely compressed.
Right.
And you know, they can go down to 720 and still call it HD legally, but you're not
Right.
going to look. It's not going to look as good as a 1080 uncompressed, you know, signal. So people don't realize that with the regular antenna now,
Yeah.
you know, you can get amazing quality channels.
The quality of the
and a lot of them, not just the you know, like every network now actually has multiple channels on one. You know, it's amazing what the technology
You
can
have
do.
5.1, 5.2,
Yeah.
5.3.
So if you add up all the channels you can get over the air, it's a lot more.
I was
than it
actually
used to
talking
be.
about the quality of the whatever's being shown on TV itself, as far as like the story and the special effects and the rank of the actor, if it's an A-list or whatever.
Right.
It's some pretty good content on TV now that just competes with movies. So now
Right.
it's at a point where, hey, what's on TV right now? It's free, just as good as this movie. Maybe I should watch that. Why should I spend any money on a movie when there's good stuff
Well,
on
yeah,
TV?
see,
I've noticed too that you're seeing now movies that are being released on a Friday.
Uh-huh.
They're also being released on demand.
on
see-
purpose, like they
Well-
do it on like the.
Well, no, I think it's just maybe the movie it's got such a big demand that they can release it on one of the demand networks or on pay-per-view and
Wow.
release it in the theater
That's pretty
the same
interesting.
week. And I've actually seen
Well,
movies
well,
like that.
don't you
where
think
I'm
theaters
like, wow,
are-
the movie's in the theater,
Yeah.
and it's also I could watch it right here on pay-per-view.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, theaters are struggling now too.
Well, that's the one thing I'm
know.
concerned about is that, as much as we love all this internet and all this new technology,
Yeah.
theaters are hurting. A lot of the old economy that employs a lot of people are hurting. And I don't
Yeah.
want to see those people lose jobs.
Well,
These are the pains of change.
Yeah, well, look at, like, for example, in Hicksville now, they got these big reclining chairs and all that. They're trying anything to hold on to.
Well, that's just smart. That's smart business. That's trying to create a nice atmosphere.
Yeah,
for
but you
someone
know
to
what-
say,
you know
let's
what-
watch a movie in a beautiful atmosphere where
I
we
like
can,
that,
where
but-
we can recline in a chair.
Right, but now they can spend. I don't want to spend $20 on freaking popcorn and a soda. I mean, 20, 30. Sometimes I'm spending $30 on. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's because a lot of the money that the theaters make, it's not on the movie. It's on.
I
the
I
concession
realize that,
stand.
but you'd get more people in. You wouldn't need all these reclining chairs if you would just be reasonable with with the prices of people want to have a popcorn. They can't
But
afford
if you,
$20.
if you're gonna go watch the latest movie
Yeah.
and it costs you $12 or $15, whatever it may be.
Yeah, but why should the
Most of that money is not going to the theater. They're getting a small amount
I know
of it.
that,
It's
but-
going to the movie house who created the film.
Well,
It's the longer the movie is in the theater,
Yeah.
that's actually when the theater starts to make more money on it. So the first few weeks, the theater isn't making really much on the movie.
Well, whose fault
'cause
is
most
that? It's
of-
not the viewer's fault.
No,
Why
but
should
that's,
I have to pay
that's-
$20
but
for
that's
popcorn?
the way it's structured. I'm not saying it's
That's why I
right
don't
that
go to
they're-
the theater
that
much
they're
anymore.
charging that much.
Yeah.
But you don't have to buy popcorn either. You can just buy the movie.
Oh, come
You can go get
on.
the. You can see
Everybody-
the movie and then you don't have to get the popcorn.
You have
We
to.
can do what you
No.
do, which is sneak in Raisinets in your pocket, in your pocket
There you go.
that you bought at Dollar Tree.
There's a way around it, I guess.
Well, there's always alternatives that people can find things to do.
Yeah.
But listen,
boy.
Raisinets are great. Nestle makes a great
Oh, I love-
product.
I love
Oh, here we go.
Raisinets.
So they're
Here we
really
go.
terrific.
Anyway, let's talk about, since we're talking about technology, let's talk about like some of the amazing things that are happening right now. I just heard on the radio that they're actually able to, because Einstein had this theory 100 years ago, 150 years ago about that gravity can actually change time and space, and they can prove it now. They actually have lasers that are so accurate they can actually detect
Gravitational waves.
gravitational wave. That's amazing.
Right.
That's like, the stuff we're going to be finding out. I mean, we're already discovering all these exoplanets out there. We're finding out new planets that are in our own solar system that we never heard of before. That are I mean, all this new stuff and more things we learn about Mars and on and on and on. It's just amazing, And this is where we should be spending money on. NASA gets like a little trickle, couple of $1 million. I mean, and here we are spending all this money on trillions on wars and nonsense, and it's
To
like
be diverted to
Well, I have to-
science,
I have
furthering
to
science.
say-
killing.
I have to say,
Come on.
There are two things that everyone should keep close to their heart.
Oh boy.
That's Christ and capitalism. And as long as you have both of them, you'll be fine. So
That's old-fashioned.
it's just traditional.
I'm sorry.
You have
All right, let's-
you
let's-
keep Christ and capitalism.
let's keep
close
talking
to you,
about science for a minute.
You'll do fine. You'll do fine.
See,
Well, let's talk about science.
You know,
Let's talk
can I
about
tell
science.
you? I read something pretty interesting, and it kind of blew my mind. Is that you would think that scientists are, completely logical and completely clear thinking, and
No, they're humans.
right. But the article that I read recently, and I wish I had the source right now in front of me, had to do with the fact that the importance or the plausibility of a theory or thinking or a mindset is stronger when that scientist is still alive. When
Really?
they die,
Yeah.
except for maybe Einstein's the exception, most of their
Yeah.
ideas just die with them, and so people lose a reverence for them.
Really? Because I think it's more like with music too. Like if a big rock star dies, all of a sudden they shoot up on the charts.
But that shouldn't be true in the scientific community.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more. Well,
There's a lot of pressure to conform in the science, because if you say something that doesn't
You really
adhere
think
to their
that?
rules, yeah.
because
I'll give you a for instance.
Yeah.
You know what the Big Bang is, the Big Bang Theory. It's
Sure.
not the TV show, but the theory of the
No, the
creation
real,
of the
the real.
universe.
Yeah.
Right, everybody knows about that. So I wrote a letter to a physics professor about just a hypothesis that I had with regards to the creation of matter.
Yeah.
And all he did was repeat what we already know about it, which is the Big Bang Theory. And to me, I don't know, I took that to mean that
Well,
he doesn't want to go outside of his comfort zone. Because
I don't think it's about comfort zone. I think it's the fact that
He didn't
they have-
address my
you didn't-
hypothesis.
I think if you would have supplied a real paper with that was backed with evidence, that like if you detected something somehow and
No, it's more common sense. It's just an inference.
well, yeah, see,
I
but
just-
they don't.
You want me
like
to talk
that.
about it? I'll
I
tell
just,
you
I
exactly
just
what
want
it
to
is.
say. I want to say this.
Well.
It's interesting. Both of you sort of agreed that when a scientist dies, the teachings or the theories die with them. but God and capitalism does
Oh,
stay.
here
It
he is.
never
Yeah.
dies. It
But
does
can I-
stay.
let
Just
me
want to say that.
I'm going to say one thing about that. Just one thing. Okay?
I just wanted to say that because
All
it was
right.
interesting how science dies,
Oh, these shows started
but
off.
God and capitalism remains. So
Okay,
let's move on. Let's
No,
move
well,
on.
no, I'm going to say one thing
let's
about
move
that
on.
because since you brought it up twice.
No, I'm just giving you an example. I
All
mean,
right.
it was just interesting how
Well, you know what
something
bothers me?
dies.
You know what bothers me?
But you have two
Okay,
very powerful
for the
forces
third time
that
you're going to say
remain.
it. Okay, keep saying it. I'm going to say my thing now, since you said it the third time now. What I see happening is when people are very young, okay, they're born at 3, 4 years old, they get thrown into a forced into a government school, okay?
Sure.
And they're forced to pledge allegiance. They don't even understand what the hell they're doing at that age, all right? They're just reciting this stuff. They're taught, they're indoctrinated into religion. And what happens is, society looks at them like if you fall out of that box, you don't fit in. And people want to fit in, they're afraid
think
of
a lot
being.
of people fit
so
in.
they're forcing. This is something like what North Korea does. Okay.
Well, that's a little extreme.
No, they do.
That's a little extreme. That's a
They
little
they
extreme.
follow their leader. They're taught to follow their
No,
leader.
because if they don't,
blindly.
their leader will kill them.
Well,
Nobody's killing anyone here in the
No,
United
but
States.
they,
I mean,
you
there's
might
a
as well be,
difference.
because if you get to the point now where everybody goes, oh, look at that anti-American. He's a communist. He doesn't believe in God.
This stuff doesn't happen
yes,
here.
it does.
doesn't
Oh,
happen.
come on. Nobody
Let's
wants
talk
to
about
feel
science,
left out.
but I'm just telling you.
And I don't think that's
it's
right.
interesting that you said.
I mean,
that,
I love if you're patriotic, that's great. I think that's fantastic.
and you can be a
But there's gotta
Democrat
be
or a liberal and be patriotic, and
Sure,
you can
but
be a
there's got to be
Republican
a
in
reason.
service and be
You can't just be
patriotic.
indoctrinated into it.
Okay.
You should understand what liberty really
That's
means.
why as you get older,
and what
you
the
make
pledge
your own
really means.
decisions, and
Right.
you can choose your
So
own
so
way
don't
in
force
life.
it on kids who don't even
I
understand
thought we were
the
talking
words.
about movies.
We
What
were,
is-
but
Yeah,
it's
but
not off topic.
well, we're all over the place.
But-
This is free for all.
But I have to say, there's an interesting movie coming out. Everyone should see. It's called Rise, and it's a religious movie.
Oh.
So I just want to put it out
Don't
there
even.
so
No, we don't
everybody
do
can see
commercials
it.
here. None of that.
So-
I don't know how much time we have left in the show, but we only have a
minutes.
couple of minutes. So, if you guys watching this, you have anything you want to say about any of the
You know,
topics?
if someone can call in and address any physics
Sure.
professors out there.
I'm going to give the number out. All right,
uh,
631-440-6012. That's my special
It's
number
real simple. This
for
is
the
real
show.
all right.
And leave a message. I'm not going to answer it. Leave a message on the machine with what you want to say. We'll take what, and we'll put it on the air and we'll talk about it, because we got our ideas. Other people have their ideas. It's nice to hear what the viewers, who are watching, and what they're thinking, so we can interact more. But yeah, I'm all. Everybody has their own ideas.
And I want to say,
Can I say one thing?
These
Yeah,
two
you got
here-
it. Go
These
ahead.
two here are my good friends, and
let-
we don't all think alike, but we respect each other.
Right.
And that's the way it should be.
So go ahead,
Okay,
Tony.
so I want anyone in to call in and tell Andy what they think about my crazy hypothesis, but it has to do, right now, governments around the world are looking for an alternative energy source. Fusion is a big thing right now.
Germany just did that.
They ran an experiment in Germany. They're running them in China. And if you don't know what fusion is, basically what they're doing is taking hydrogen atoms, the atoms that you learned about in elementary school, and fusing them together. That's what they're trying to do, like the sun. The sun achieves it through extreme heat and extreme gravity, and that's only possible because it's so massive. It won't happen on Earth naturally. But my hypothesis had to do with there are stars out there, or suns, that are many times larger than our own sun. In fact, one that comes to mind is Antares, which if you know about it, you
it's
love
way big.
astronomy.
It's huge.
If it stood at the center of our solar system where the sun is, it would stretch out to like Saturn or Jupiter. That's how massive it is.
Yeah, it's huge.
So when it's that large, it has a lot more power, a lot more gravity.
Right.
It's capable of fusion on a greater scale. And one thing that you've also learned is that space isn't actually a pure vacuum. There's actually there are
Sure.
things in space. There's subatomic particles.
Yeah, you can't have an actual.
But my hypothesis is that the sun, our sun, creates everything from the smallest element, which is helium, on the sun. It produces helium and everything bigger than that, but not hydrogen and not protons. So where do those come from? According to
I think you got it
tradition,
backwards.
no. The sun
helium-
produces helium
there's
and then
more-
produces other things when it dies, when it explodes.
Yeah, there's more hydrogen than helium.
Right, but it doesn't produce hydrogen.
Right.
It doesn't.
You said
fuse.
helium.
It doesn't happen on the sun. So where does it come from? And hydrogen, by the way, has 1 proton. Where do protons come from? We don't know
these
that.
are good questions.
They all, well, according to traditional science, they came from the Big Bang. But my theory is that something as massive as Antares, or even bigger, a bigger star, has the ability to fuse particles in space, subatomic particles in space, creating a proton, and hydrogen, which supplies the universe. And basically, we have multiple Big Bangs. But that's if anyone out there knows anything about this,
a lot of,
right into
some
Andy.
people believe that. The problem is we really can't prove it because, that's the biggest problem we have because even if we had multiple Big Bangs, let's say the universe expands and contracts and expands. Once it contracts into a singularity, everything we know about it, everything, it disappears. We lose all the information. We got to start all over again. And, so there's really no way to tell for sure.
Information is very...
But it's interesting. So, yeah, tell us what you think. I mean, sorry we're running out of time, but,
Somebody's going to call and say, those guys...
Can I add something?
Real quick. We got like
say that
a couple of seconds.
The movement for alternative energy, if you want to freeze, that's fine. But if you want to stay warm, Chevron, fossil fuel, oil, natural gas, that's where you need to be.
That's where you get global warming, and you won't be freezing. You'll be done. Watch Soylent Green, and then you'll understand what global warming will cause.
If you want to see if you want to see a great movie, There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh boy,
great oil movie.
Well, keep watching movies. Thanks for watching the show, by the way. Let us hear from you.
Thank you for having us, Andy.
631-440-6012. And until next week.
Hi, it's Bud Dickman from the world-famous Phil Erie Show. You're watching Access Central TV.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.